Hi, I'm Shelly.
And I'm Jody.
And we're just wondering.
So Jody, where are y'all at now?
Boquillas, Mexico.
Boquillas, Mexico. Oh, okay. So you got some old man filming you here.
I don't know if I call him old, but he's definitely a man.
Okay, well good. All right, over and out.
So it's been a little while since we've been able to get a video out. We've been pretty busy. We've been on the road. We did a few things. We've been through a couple of different national parks. Three, as a matter of fact, yes. We're going to try to catch you up with our trip to Big Bend. Before we get completely there, the last video that you saw was of me working on bracing up the freshwater tank and fixing the underbelly from that little incident. There's still a few issues that we're dealing with the refrigerator and stuff like that, but you know, we'll get it taken care of. Most of the places we go to are full hookups, so we have electric. Don't have to worry about propane on the fridge, so you know, we're cool. While we were in Corpus Christi, we went to North Padre, and it was a national seashore.
National seashore, yep.
And we boondocked there. That's where we were at whenever we figured out that we had some issues. We moved to, what was the name of the place?
Padre Bali Park.
Okay, and
Bayi. Not sure how you're supposed to say that.
So we stayed there for I think a week or a few days, and we met a guy named Travis while we were in the area. He was cool. He was boondocking himself out on the beach. Really great guy. He was down for a hog hunt in Texas, and just went to the beach to burn up the rest of his days and head back home. Then we left there and we went to Big Bend National Park.
We arrived the day after, I think, that they resolved the government shutdown, but the campgrounds weren't open yet. I guess the park remained open, but the campground that we were scheduled to be at or planned to be at, it wasn't open until the park reopened. And when we got there to get our park pass, they told us that it would open, I think, on Tuesday. So we just found a campground just outside the park, which was pretty nice to stay at until the park opened. So we did that, and
yep, we stayed at Stillwell RV Park and store, I guess. It also had a museum. I guess the owner of the place, well, she has passed away, but the original owner of the place, she was the national, or I guess state barbecue champion.
Yeah, barbecue champion.
Barbecue queen or whatever they do in Texas. And there was a museum dedicated to her and kind of her family with the ranch and everything.
She was a pretty interesting lady. Hallie Stillwell was her name. She was a justice of the peace as well as the barbecue champion. She was also, I think, a reporter maybe. The museum had several old cameras and an old typewriter, things that she used while she worked. And then it was just really cool. So it was neat to see that history.
Yeah, the museum is actually in their old homestead, so it's kind of an adobe type house, and then we get to tour that. Basically, the guy that works in the store just says, "Here's the key, go check it out." So, so that's what we did.
Yeah.
While we were there, we met a guy named Carl. He was on vacation, kind of by himself. He had a lady friend, but she didn't come with him. He's kind of a small trailer, but he went down to check out the park, and he stayed in both places. We moved from Stillwell to Big Bend.
To Rio Grande Village in Big Bend.
Right. So Big Bend National Park is the largest national park in the United States. It's like 800,000 acres plus. So there's all sorts of trails to hike and drive on and
some off-roading adventures as well.
We did a few of those. We met a guy on one of the days before we went to the Rio Grande Village. We met a guy named Travis and got his permission to go out on some, what was the land called?
Wildlife Management Area. WMA, Wildlife Management Area.
It was Black Gap Wildlife Management Area. And you're supposed to have a pass to go in and hunt and fish and stuff like that. Well, we weren't going to hunt or fish or really use the facilities for anything. So he said, yeah, go out, check stuff out, take your pictures, just let me know when you leave. And there were no other hunts, no other people out there, so we kind of checked it out. Our goal was to see the Rio Grande River.
The sign said we could.
It did. It said it was 18 miles down this hog trail. But we got to where we thought it was supposed to be, and it was a big gate that said no admittance because they had, it was a sanctuary for goats, mountain goats.
Yeah, I thought they were sheep, but mountain goats works too.
So we backed up, turned around, went the other way. Got all the way to the end of the other way, and hey,
Another
there's
gate.
another gate. That's
More goats.
more goats. So we wasted, well, we didn't waste. We saw a lot of cool stuff. We spent well over half our day there driving around on just off-road stuff. And there was a horse trail that if we had gone down the horse trail, we would have seen the Rio Grande. We were probably 4 miles from it. But, you know, that's okay. It saved it for our trip to Big Bend. Big Bend proper, I should say. So what else did we do?
We went to Boquillas, Mexico, which is a recently reopened border crossing. You'll have to Google it, but it's just a small town just across the Rio Grande. So you go through the Border Patrol office and tell them what you're going to do, and they kind of give you, the lowdown of what's going to happen when you get over there. But basically, you just walk down this pretty little path, and you meet up with a guy in a rowboat, and he will row you across the river for $5. You can also walk across the water if you want to, which we considered. However, I didn't want to have wet feet all day. So,
and, I'm not a messiah, so I can't walk on it.
No. So, we paid the $5. We went across the river, and then on the other side, since I didn't get to walk through the water and cross the Rio Grande, they had burros that you could rent for $5 for the day. And so we rented burros and rode into town. And
so we took our happy asses into town. They seemed happy.
They were happy. I really liked mine. He was a good little burro. He wanted to be in the lead the whole time, imagine. So we went on this trip with a guy that we met at that campground. His name was Stan, and he was in a big Class A motorhome that was about as big as our rig was too. So we kind of talked about that a little bit. Plus he was from Oklahoma City, so that was kind of cool that two Oklahoma people or 3 Oklahoma people met up at this campground in Big Bend. Anyway, so we spent the day there, and it was a lot of fun. We had lunch at a restaurant and talked to some locals. We talked to some people that work in Big Bend and spent a lot of time over in Boquillas, and they told us a little bit about the history of the town and how things have changed. One notable change, I guess, is that they've started using a lot of solar power over there, and they had a big solar farm, and a lot of the buildings, including the school and the hospital, had solar on them.
Yeah, they have one building dedicated to their battery bank for the town, and there were 360 batteries in this one building, and that's what the solar powered. It charged up the batteries every day, and that's what ran the town, just a bank of 360 batteries.
Yeah, so it was a really cool trip. I'm going to post more about it in the blog, so you can check it out there if you want to know a little bit more. But it was cool. We had fun.
Yep, just really cool people. We also met Tully and Sherry Mangum? Mangum, okay. Another great couple. It's one thing I've noticed is everybody we've met camping, everybody that's doing what we're doing, they're just really great people. They're great personalities and cool to be around, and seem like they'll just do anything for you, at least the ones we've talked to. There's been a couple of bumps in the road with managers or such for the RV parks, but that's to be expected. You know, you're going to run into people who are just tired of dealing with riffraff.
So another thing that we did while we were at Big Bend was go to the Santa Elena Canyons, and the canyons are really cool. They are that's a canyon.
It's a canyon.
that the Rio Grande cut through, basically. So the canyon walls are massive, and it is really beautiful there. So
yeah, we there's an overlook, and we stopped there and we checked out the I don't know what you want to call them, placards, the plaques that tell you stuff about it. And the entire area was significantly flatter than it is today, and due to erosion over time, the wind erosion, the water erosion, and it's on a fault line to boot. It carved this huge canyon, this huge valley, and we were able to hike down through this Santa Elena Canyon. Basically, we hiked on the United States side of the Rio Grande, and just across the river, it looks, it's another canyon wall. That was Mexico's side, but it's just really cool. It's very Land of the Lost looking, I think is what you called it.
it is.
And kind of, there's what do they call those? The petroglyphs. We saw a couple of spots where there were carvings in rocks that had been there for hundreds or thousands of years. So that was pretty cool.
It was cool. I think one thing that I thought was pretty interesting is that as part of the national park system, so Big Bend is on the U.S. side, there's also let's call it national park land on the Mexico side, and the two countries work together to make sure that the land stays usable for both countries, and everything is taken care of. So, and they work very well together. So I thought that was really neat. I like that.
And then you get on top of this Chisos Basin mountain area, and it's just lush and green. You have evergreens. You have all kinds of wildlife. The deer.
Yep, we saw some deer that actually wandered into the little village, and there was, I think, 4 of them, and they were just grazing alongside the road. And I walked up fairly close to them to take their pictures, and they posed nicely. So they were friendly deer.
So one of the other things we did while we were there, well, a couple of things. We had dinner at the restaurant, and the other thing was we did FaceTime with our daughter Krista and our grandkids, and that was really cool to be on the side of this mountain
from a rock on the side of the mountain. It was a precarious position for somebody that's afraid of heights.
It was a little precarious to get out there. I'll give you that, but we had a good time, and we're able to show the grandkids and everybody kind of what we were looking at, kind of the view. So go ahead and like our channel, subscribe to our
Okay.
So we leave Big Bend and we head toward Guadalupe Mountains, and we have a blowout. I kind of posted a little bit of a rant about this, kind of a few pictures, but on the passenger side, the front tire of the trailer blew out. In doing this, it tore up a lot of the stuff underneath the trailer in the wheel well, and blew there's a plastic, they call it a fender flare, but it blew it completely apart off. I don't know where it went.
It disintegrated.
It did. But when all that happened, there's a few small braces in there that keep the fender from flapping around as you're driving, and one of them got blown off and into the rear tire on that side, and it just did that to the tread. It just flayed it right open. So the thought was, we'll put the spare on the front tire and limp it into town so we can get two tires for the trailer. As I was working on getting the spare, I realized 2 things. One, that rear tire is going flat, so it would have been a mile.
There was no limping.
No limping. We would have been dragging, and we didn't want to do that and tear stuff up. And 2, I didn't have a jack.
Oops.
I have the truck jack, but that's not rated to lift up the side of a 12,000 pound trailer. We got that taken care of, got back on the road, and then
Yeah, we called roadside assistance, and they helped us out. So they were amazing.
so go ahead and like our channel, subscribe to our channel, and you'll be getting updates. Check out our Facebook page. We're on Instagram. All the links are going to be here, either in the comments or in the video. Yep, down there. And we'll see you next time.
Bye.
So we get done with.
Well, yeah, we were at Big Bend.
So we leave Big Bend and we headed toward.
Guadalupe Mountains.
Okay, so let's start that over.
Okay.
Okay, I'll start it. I don't have anything else, do you?
I have nothing. We're going to talk about Guadalupe Mountains or just in there? Because I think we're kind of long.
Yeah, we'll end there. But that entire valley behind us at some point fills up with water, and that becomes the Santa Elena River. What are you doing?